Have you ever had a conversation with a man who left you feeling completely confused? Your intuition is picking up on this powerful, magnetic vibe. You can feel his interest, but his actions don't match. He doesn't ask you out. He might even seem a little distant. It's the frustrating puzzle of mixed signals, where his energy says one thing, but his words say another. We've all heard the standard advice for decoding this, right? If he touches his hair, he's interested. If he holds eye contact for 4.2 seconds, he's attracted. But let's be honest, that stuff is surface level. At best, it's basic body language. At worst, it's a conscious performance that can be easily faked. But what if you could bypass the performance entirely? What if you could learn to read the signals that are impossible for him to fake? The ones that come from a place so deep within his unconscious that he isn't even aware he's sending them. This is where the groundbreaking work of the legendary Swiss psychiatrist, Carl Jung, gives us a master key. He mapped the human unconscious, and within his theories, we find the blueprint for authentic attraction. So, today we're moving beyond pop psychology. We are diving into 5 hidden signals a man displays when he is authentically and deeply attracted to you. We're not just looking at what he's doing, we're uncovering what's happening within his own psyche. To truly understand the hidden language of attraction, we need a new vocabulary, one that goes beyond the surface. This is where Carl Jung's map of the human psyche becomes essential. Think of your own mind not as a single thing, but as having different layers. The most superficial layer is what Jung called the persona. This is our social mask, the version of ourselves we consciously present to the world. It's the polite, professional, got it all together self we show at a party or a business meeting. The persona is helpful. It allows us to function smoothly in society, but it's also a performance. It's managed and controlled, which means it can be manipulated, making it an unreliable source for reading genuine interest. Beneath this mask lies something far more fascinating and truthful: the shadow. This is the part of our psyche that houses everything we have repressed, denied, or hidden away because it doesn't fit our ideal self-image or society's expectations. It's not inherently evil, it's simply raw. It contains our primal instincts, our deepest emotions, our hidden desires, and even our untapped potential. The shadow is the reservoir of everything we don't want others to see, and crucially, it operates almost entirely on an unconscious level. We can't consciously control what springs from the shadow. It leaks out in our slips of the tongue, our sudden bursts of emotion, and our involuntary reactions. For a man, there's another critical archetype within his unconscious that is central to attraction: the anima. The anima is Jung's concept of the inner feminine image, a man's internal, unconscious blueprint of the feminine. It's not based on any one real woman but is a composite, a deeply ingrained image formed by his earliest experiences with the feminine. His mother, sisters, childhood caregivers, past partners, and even cultural ideals. This anima is the lens through which he relates to women and the source of his capacity for connection. The powerful idea here is that genuine, powerful attraction isn't just a conscious decision. It occurs on this profound, unconscious level when a real woman he encounters resonates with the energy of this inner, idealized feminine image, his anima. This collision between his inner world and outer reality causes a ripple effect through his entire psyche, triggering those unconscious, involuntary reactions that he cannot fake. Those raw, unfiltered reactions are the hidden signals we're looking for. Signal number 1. The unconscious self-sabotage. Of all the signals, this first one is perhaps the most counterintuitive because it looks like a lack of interest. We're conditioned to believe that attraction should make someone more polished, more charming, more intent on impressing us. But according to Jung's model, the exact opposite often occurs when the attraction is genuine and deep. You might notice a man who is typically articulate and confident suddenly fumble over his words when talking to you. A joke he'd tell flawlessly to a friend falls completely flat. He might knock over his drink or struggle to find a simple word. This isn't a performance, it's the literal cracking of his performance. His conscious persona, that cool, collected mask he shows the world, is momentarily short-circuited. The reason for this lies in the sudden and powerful activation of the deeper parts of his psyche, his shadow and his anima. The intensity of his authentic attraction creates an inner tension, a civil war between the image he wants to project and the raw, unconscious reaction you're triggering. This awkwardness is therefore not a sign of disinterest, but quite the opposite. It's an involuntary reveal of his authentic, vulnerable self breaking through the facade because the feeling is too strong to be fully contained and managed. The key to identifying the signal is to look for a noticeable and specific drop in his usual competence or social smoothness. It's not a general shyness that he displays with everyone. It's a stark contrast that appears specifically in his interactions with you, highlighting the unique effect you have on his equilibrium. Signal number 2. The compulsion to explain or teach. This second signal can often be misunderstood, sometimes mistaken for a patronizing or know-it-all attitude. However, when viewed through a Jungian lens, this behavior reveals a far deeper and more vulnerable impulse. You might notice that a man feels a compelling urge to explain a concept to you in detail, to share a piece of knowledge he finds fascinating, or to immediately try to solve a problem you've mentioned, even if you were just venting and not asking for a solution. While on the surface this may share some DNA with what is commonly dismissed as mansplaining, the Jungian motivation and the emotional undercurrent are fundamentally different. The common cultural interpretation frames this behavior as an assertion of superiority, but in the context of deep attraction, it often stems from a place of genuine, almost boyish enthusiasm and a deep-seated desire to connect. It's less about him assuming you don't know and more about him desperately wanting to share a part of his world and his mind with you, to contribute something he perceives as valuable. The root of this compulsion lies in what Carl Jung identified as logos, the principle he associated with the masculine psyche. Logos represents logic, order, structure, and meaning, the drive to understand the world intellectually, to analyze it, and to impose a coherent narrative upon it. It is the opposite of eros, the principle of relatedness, connection, and feeling, which Jung associated with the feminine. When a man's anima, his inner feminine, is powerfully activated by your presence, it creates a fascinating psychic reaction. His unconscious response to this surge of feeling, this connection to the erotic and emotional realm, is often to retreat to his home turf of logos. It's not a conscious decision, it's an instinctual pivot. He feels a primal drive to demonstrate his competence and value, but he does so through the language he knows best, the language of explanation and problem-solving. He is trying to bridge the gap between his inner world of feeling and the outer world by using the tools of structure and meaning. In a very real sense, he is attempting to make sense of you and the powerful and likely somewhat unsettling feelings you evoke in him. By offering you his knowledge, he is offering a piece of his internal structure, trying to build a bridge of understanding between your world and his. This is why the tone and the context are everything in distinguishing this hidden signal from mere arrogance. When driven by authentic attraction, his tone will shift from a casual conversational style to a more focused, instructive, and passionately engaged one. You can hear a genuine excitement in his voice, a keenness to pull you into his sphere of interest. He's not talking at you to elevate himself, he's trying to talk with you, to bring you into a shared mental space. He is essentially trying to impress the idealized feminine within him by demonstrating his capability to understand and navigate the world, and you are the living embodiment of that ideal in that moment. It is an unconscious offering of what he perceives as his most valuable asset, his mind and his ability to provide clarity. So, the next time a man launches into an unsolicited explanation of how espresso machines work or the thematic depth of his favorite film, look beyond the surface. Listen for that genuine, eager passion. It's likely not a lesson, it's an invitation and a testament to the profound effect you're having on him. Signal number 3, the emergence of childlike wonder or playfulness. Of all the signals, this one is perhaps the most telling because it is the most defenseless. It has no utility or strategy behind it. It is a pure, unvarnished glimpse into a man's core self, far removed from the performative layers of the adult world. This signal manifests as a sudden, unexpected emergence of a boyish, childlike quality. You might see his eyes light up with genuine excitement as he explains a passion project, not with the polished tone of a salesman, but with the uncontainable enthusiasm of a boy showing off his favorite rock collection. He might become more physically playful, engaging in a light-hearted tease or a silly joke that exists outside his usual, more reserved wit. He might share a nostalgic memory from his childhood with a fondness that feels fresh and immediate, not just a rehearsed story. This isn't about immaturity. It's about a specific kind of innocence and wonder that typically gets buried under the weight of adult responsibilities and the need to maintain a competent, controlled persona. The Jungian reasoning behind this profound shift delves into the interconnected nature of the archetypes within the unconscious. While the anima represents the inner feminine, it is also, crucially, a gateway or a guide to the deepest layers of the psyche, what Jung termed the collective unconscious. One of the most powerful archetypes residing there is the divine child or the eternal youth. This archetype symbolizes potential, new beginnings, spontaneous creativity, innocence, and a sense of wonder at the world. When a man is in your presence and feels a powerful, resonant attraction, it's not just his concept of the feminine that is activated. It's his entire inner world that is stirred. Your presence, particularly if it feels safe and inspiring, unconsciously connects him to this profound sense of possibility and rejuvenation. The attraction he feels is interpreted by his psyche not just as desire, but as a form of rebirth, the potential for a new and vibrant chapter of life. This connection to the archetype of the divine child causes that raw, untempered, joyful energy to bubble straight up to the surface, bypassing the usual filters of his adult ego. He is not trying to be charming, he is being remade, momentarily, into a more whole and integrated version of himself, one that includes the curiosity and openness he had to suppress to become a man. This is why this signal is such a powerful indicator of deep comfort and positive association. The persona is a tool for the outside world. The shadow contains what he fears, and the logo's drive is a structured offering. But the emergence of playfulness is a gift of trust. He is not performing the role of the provider, the protector, or the intellectual. In those moments, he has momentarily shed those roles. He is showing you a part of himself that is pre-social, pure, and utterly unguarded. It is the part of him that feels safe to play, to imagine, and to be vulnerable without the need for a specific outcome or the fear of judgment. This unarmored state is one of the highest compliments his unconscious can pay you. It means his psyche has identified you not as a threat, not as a conquest, and not as an audience for a performance, but as a source of inspiration and a catalyst for his own deeper, more joyful humanity. Signal number 4. The protective urge. This signal moves beyond the physical realm and into the domain of instinct, revealing an attraction that is so deep it triggers ancient, hardwired programming. Its manifestation is not in grand, declarative acts of heroism, but in the smallest, almost imperceptible shifts in behavior. It's a subtle, yet palpable heightening of his awareness that is specifically focused on your safety and comfort. This isn't the performative, often intrusive white knighting of someone trying to prove their value. It's something far more authentic and unconscious. You might notice him subtly scanning a room when you enter it, not with paranoia, but with a calm, assessing gaze. He might instinctively move to walk on the sidewalk side of the street, positioning himself between you and the traffic. If you mention a minor headache, he might be the one who quietly remembers and later asks if it's gotten better. It's a micro-expression of concern that flashes across his face if you seem even momentarily distressed or uncomfortable, a tightening around the eyes, a slight lean in. These actions are automatic, done without fanfare or expectation of praise. They are the behavioral equivalent of a reflex. The Jungian explanation for this instinct roots it in the deepest, most primal layers of the masculine psyche, within what Jung termed the archetypes of the collective unconscious. Specifically, this protective urge is a mobilization of the warrior, or guardian, archetype that resides within a man's shadow. This isn't the warrior of aggression, but the warrior of protection, the part of the psyche concerned with defense, boundaries, and the safety of what is deemed precious. Under normal circumstances, this archetypal energy is integrated and managed, but when a powerful attraction occurs, it is summoned forth unconsciously. The trigger, once again, is the activation of his anima. You, as the external object of his attraction, becomes psychically linked to his inner feminine image. In that moment, you are not just a woman he likes. You are perceived by his unconscious as the literal embodiment of something profoundly valuable and vulnerable that needs to be safeguarded. This is a profound projection. The value he attributes to his own inner feminine world is projected outward onto you, and his entire psychic structure responds by mobilizing its protective capacities. It is an involuntary acknowledgement of the significance you hold for him. This is precisely why the distinction between instinct and intention is so critical. A grand, calculated gesture can be part of the persona, a conscious strategy to impress. But the true signal lies in the small, automatic actions that happen almost before he has time to think. You cannot fake a reflex. The protective urge, when it is this genuine, is a form of nonverbal communication from his unconscious to yours. It is his psyche's way of stating, without words, that your well-being has become tied to his own. He is not doing it to be thanked. He is doing it because on some deep, archetypal level, he feels he must. It is a commitment enacted by the body and the unconscious mind long before it could ever be formulated as a thought or a promise. Therefore, to recognize this signal, you must attune yourself to this background hum of caring vigilance. Look for the instinct, not the performance. It is in these unthinking, automatic moments that his deepest feelings are revealed most clearly. Signal number 5. The nervous glance away. This final signal is the most subtle, yet often the most profound, because it occurs in a split second and speaks volumes about the depth of feeling happening beneath the surface. It manifests as a specific pattern of eye contact, not a consistent avoidance, but an intense, deep look into your eyes that is suddenly and abruptly broken. He will hold your gaze, and in that moment, a genuine connection feels like it's being forged, but then he quickly glances away, often down or to the side, as if he's been emotionally overwhelmed or even slightly startled by the intensity of the moment. It's not a casual look around the room. It's a deliberate break from a connection that became too potent to sustain. This is frequently accompanied by a slight, almost imperceptible change in his expression, a look of awe, a moment of being truly speechless, or a quiet intake of breath. He isn't bored or distracted. He is visibly and involuntarily moved. The Jungian why behind this reaction gets to the very heart of what profound attraction represents in the human psyche. Jung placed immense importance on the symbolic act of looking into another's eyes, viewing it as one of the most direct and unguarded forms of human connection, a true mirror into the soul. When a man feels a powerful resonance with his anima through you, this eye contact ceases to be just a social gesture. In that moment, you are not just another person. You become a living symbol, the embodiment of a deep and powerful archetypal force within him. To look directly at you is to gaze into something vast, beautiful, and terrifyingly significant. The experience is not just emotional, it's numinous, meaning it has a spiritual, awe-inspiring quality that transcends the ordinary. His ego, his conscious sense of self and control, is momentarily overwhelmed by this wave of unconscious material. The glance away is not a choice. It is a reflexive retreat of the ego, a psychic flinch. It is an unconscious acknowledgement that the feeling is so powerful it borders on the sacred, or is so intense it feels threatening to his normal equilibrium. He isn't looking away out of a lack of interest, but because his interest and the profound feelings it stirs are so overwhelming that his conscious mind needs a momentary reprieve to integrate the experience. This is why context is everything in identifying this pure signal. It is crucially different from a shy or avoidant look. Shyness or social anxiety typically presents as a consistent inability to make or hold eye contact from the outset. The awe response, however, is defined by its sequence. It always comes after a moment of deep, genuine connection. It is the break that proves the connection was real and powerful. You will feel the intensity in the look first, and the glance away will feel like a reaction to that intensity, not a replacement for it. It is a break in contact caused exclusively by emotional and psychic overwhelm. This is the unconscious confessing what the conscious mind might not yet be ready to admit. In that quick, nervous glance away, he is telling you, without a single word, that he sees something in you that is so compelling, so resonant with his deepest self, that it literally shakes his foundation and forces a moment of vulnerable, awestruck retreat. It is the silent, physical evidence that he is not just attracted to you, but is in awe of you. Now that you're equipped with this deeper understanding, the natural question becomes, what do you do with this information? The most important thing to remember is the power dynamic at play. This knowledge is not a tool for manipulation, a checklist to be used to trick someone into liking you, or a game to be won. Its true value is for your own clarity and empowerment. It is a lens through which you can quiet the noise of doubt and more accurately perceive the genuine, unconscious currents flowing beneath the surface of your interactions. This awareness is meant to give you confidence, not a strategy. It allows you to step back from the anxiety of "does he like me?" and instead observe the truth of his reactions, freeing you to be more authentically yourself because you are operating from a place of insight rather than insecurity. If you do recognize these signals and feel a reciprocal interest, the best way to nurture this budding connection is to consciously create a safe and non-judgmental space where his authentic self feels welcome to emerge. This means responding positively when you see these glimpses of his true nature. If he shows you that childlike playfulness, engage with it, reciprocate the light tease, share in his excitement about a passion, and allow that joyful energy to exist between you. When he feels the compulsion to explain or teach, receive it graciously. See it not as a lecture, but as an offering. Thank him for the information, ask a follow-up question, and acknowledge the value he is trying to share. If you notice those subtle, protective instincts, acknowledge them in a way that is appreciative but not patronizing. A simple, genuine, "thank you," that was really thoughtful, validates the impulse without making him feel scrutinized or emasculated. Your positive reinforcement makes it safe for him to continue to let his guard down around you. However, with this deeper understanding comes a crucial and non-negotiable warning. It is absolutely vital to remember that these signals indicate deep, unconscious attraction. They are a report on his internal emotional and psychic state. They are not, however, a guarantee of a healthy, functional, or committed relationship. A man can be powerfully and genuinely attracted to you on this profound level and still be emotionally unavailable, avoidant, or simply incapable of the maturity and communication required for a lasting partnership. His shadow might be activated, but that doesn't mean he has done the work to integrate it in a healthy way. Therefore, use this knowledge as a compass to identify potential, not as a final destination. These unconscious signals must always, without exception, be vetted against his conscious character and his consistent, chosen actions over time. Does his behavior align with his feelings? Does he communicate openly? Does he treat you with respect? The unconscious may confess its attraction through a glance, but it is the conscious mind, over time, that proves its worth. So, to bring it all together, the goal was never to give you a simple checklist of moves to watch for. The real insight is learning to spot the cracks in the facade. It's about training yourself to notice those fleeting, unguarded moments when his unconscious, the raw energy of his shadow and the compelling force of his anima, breaks through the carefully constructed persona. We've talked about the 5 key leaks, that sudden awkwardness, the compulsive urge to explain, the emergence of a boyish playfulness, the instinctual protective shift, and that awestruck, nervous glance away. Each one is a tiny window into a much deeper reality. This understanding is ultimately about empowerment. It gives you permission to stop analyzing every word and start trusting the energy. Pay less attention to the perfectly crafted performance, the smooth lines, and the rehearsed charm. Instead, learn to value those involuntary, genuine reactions. That's where the authentic truth resides. When you shift your focus from what a man is saying to what he can't help but do, you move from a place of confusion to a place of clarity and confidence. If this deep dive into the hidden layers of psychology felt valuable and gave you a new lens to see your interactions, then please do give this video a like. It truly helps. And if you want to continue this journey of understanding the unseen forces that drive human connection, then subscribing to the channel is the best way to make sure you don't miss what's next. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments below. What's the most confusing mixed signal you've ever received from someone? Looking back now, do you think it was a controlled part of their persona, or was it a genuine, unconscious leak from their shadow? Let's get a discussion going. And speaking of what's next, to truly complete this picture, we need to understand the other side of the equation. In our next video, we'll be applying this same Jungian lens to break down the 5 hidden signals women give based on Jung's animus theory. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching.